All right, guys, so in this video, you're going to learn about questions. Now, by the way, this isn't going to be a long video, but it probably could be one of the most valuable videos that you'll learn in sales. There's a really simple method, okay? This is mastery, and I'm going to give it to you. How do you know? And by the way, I want to interrupt this real quick. Great salespeople are made not in a day. They're made day by day. And great salespeople, every day, they're bringing new skill to the table, which is what you're learning right now. So understand, when you're learning what I'm teaching you right now, you must implement this and make this a part of your new life. You must understand this like mastery. And so what is question mastery? I want you to write this down. It is when the client says, "Great question. No one has ever asked me that before." See, your competition isn't getting the clients to say that. And if you can do that, you can become dangerous. So I'm going to give you the formula on how to do this. And I want to tell you, ask great questions, get great answers. Ask bad questions, get bad answers. All right? Don't ask any questions at all. And then don't be surprised when you're broke and you're out of sales. And then you tell everybody that it wasn't right for you when actually you never learned how to sell. So the question ability is everything. All right, so here we go. So number one, questions are the heart of the sell. I want you to write that down. The heart of every sell. The dominant buying motive, which we've talked about previously, which is what is most important to your client. I want you to write this down. What are my clients struggling with? You know your industry, right? Rule number one in business, don't ever let anyone else know your business better than you. All right? I want you to write this down. Before we get into questions, what does your product solve? What does your product or service solve? What does it solve for? I want you to write down what it solves for. And then I want you to write this down. What are my customers' frustrations? What are they looking to become unstuck with? Where are they stuck at? And then they need our product to get them unstuck. And then also, what are they struggling with? What are they frustrated with? What do they want to gain? Do they want to earn more? And they're not stuck, but they're looking for an edge to earn more, and that's your product or service. What does it do? What can they gain, and what can they have a breakthrough with? What does your product do? So when you're asking these questions, before I even ask a question, I know with my clients, I know what my product does, and I know what people struggle with. So I'm going to frame, and write this down, framing. I'm going to frame my questions to, number one, uncover anything that I might be missing, and also uncover the answers that I want the customer to tell me. Understand this. A customer doesn't need to solve any problem until they openly admit that they have a problem. The best salespeople in the world, the best pros, the best communicators in the world can get clients to tell the other person what their problem is, which is saying, "Please help me find a solution for this." The worst salespeople in the world tell people what their product does and what all it solves, but the customer never openly admits that they even have a problem. You see the difference? Questions uncover these answers that we need to know that maybe we might not know without questions, but also that we already know exist, and we just need them to openly admit it and own it. Not in a bad way, just in a good way. Like, "Hey, I'm struggling with this." Aha, boom. What if we could fix this, and this could happen, and then that could be a bridge to get over that problem, and now your new life's here and you're earning X amount of money, because that's why we're talking right now, because that's what you want to do. If that could happen, what would that be worth to you? Everything, right? Okay, well, it's not going to cost you everything. It's only going to cost you $2,500 a month, and you'll have our new service. You see? Okay. Now I'm going to give you kind of a formula here, which I said I would do. Please make sure you wrote down questions are the heart of the sell. Okay. You'll never understand the heart of the problem. You'll never understand what solution, to give if you don't understand where they're stuck, what they're frustrated with, what they want to gain, okay? And so don't assume that you know. Write this down. Assume. Don't make an ass out of yourself. The beginning of assume is ASS. Never assume that you think you know what's going on, okay? Be sure of it. Like a sniper, dial in, take one shot. They'll openly tell you, just be ready to listen and ask good questions. That's what this is about. Okay, so questions convert the selling process into a buying process. Write that down. Questions convert the selling process. You go from selling to literally turning someone into a buyer just by asking questions. Okay, the more they can talk about what's wrong, the more they can talk about what they want to gain with you, with the specialist that has those answers, the more likely it is that you guys are going to do business together. All right. So questions convert the selling process into a buying process. Number two, questions uncover facts. How important are facts? Super important. You need to know what's going on, what's really happening. You got to get them to openly admit. Questions uncover facts and motives for buyings, right? Like, you may not understand that somebody is wanting something that you would never know, or they might have a problem that you would never know had you not asked the right question, which I asked in the beginning. Are you asking questions that customer go, man, that's a good question. No one's ever asked me that before. That's the great separator, okay? All right, so write this down. Ready? Develop and ask questions. You're going to develop. This is your job. By the way, I want you to understand, you're a genius. You're an artist. Sales is art. Develop questions. I don't care what your manager taught you to ask. Learn that and develop better questions, okay? Be better than those that teach you, which is I'm teaching you now. My goal is for you to be 10 times better than me, okay? Develop and ask questions that make the client, what did I say? Make. I'm going to make the client think about themselves. I don't want them thinking about my product for a minute. Okay, most salespeople, they get it confused. They're trying to sell the product. They're trying to convince a customer they have the best product in the world. What I'm trying to do is get clients to think about themselves for a minute. I want themselves to really think about the situation they're currently in, and is that really the outcome that they wanted? And if the answer is no, that's not the outcome that they wanted, if I could produce that outcome, what would they do? Make a decision now with me. You got it? So develop and ask questions that make the client think about themselves, make them evaluate new information. Man, imagine this. I don't have to persuade them to believe what I believe. I'm just going to believe it, but I might ask questions that makes them evaluate and think about this new information in which I'm going to give them. That's it. Everybody's open-minded. Never think that people might be stubborn. I've learned this. The most educated people, they're hard to persuade, but they are open-minded. They're open-minded. So you use new information, right, to help persuade, to make them think, and you get them thinking also about themselves. Listen, the biggest thing that you can do, remember, logic is what we close people with, but we sell people with emotion. When you can get somebody emotional about something that they hate or they love, we can close them logically with facts of what our thing will do for them or what it will fix and what they can gain. Okay, and then also get them to give answers or information. They can give answers or information, which would be like facts, in terms of how they would use our product and think about our product. Okay, so I'm going to read over this really quick. Develop and ask questions that make the client think about themselves, make them evaluate new information, and get them to give answers / information in terms of how they would use or think about our product or service. So basically, if someone can get someone to tell them, like, I'm gonna give an example, like I sell coaching, okay? So I'm just gonna use this very simply. Man, Andy, see, right now I'm waking up and I really don't have a routine. That's my biggest problem, man. My habits are junk. I know they're junk. So I was thinking, with your coaching program, if I had something that I could wake up every morning and instead of my mind, leading me to be afraid and scared and don't take risks and don't believe in myself, but I had something that I can plug into, like your training, literally for the first 15, 20 minutes of every day, I could literally brainwash myself to be unstoppable, to think I can take over the world, I can do anything. And then I could serve myself, my family, my clients, and my whole life differently all day long just by programming my mind first thing in the morning with your training program. And that was the reason why I wanted to reach out, because right now I know that I have a missing piece, and it's that I'm not starting my day off right. And so me using your coaching program, if it was as good as I thought it was, I just know that it could change everything in my life. My perspective would be shifted first thing in the morning when I wake up. If I can get the client to say something like that, basically they've already envisioned themselves using my product. They've told me how they would use it. And by the way, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. Sometimes people say, well, Andy, at the end of the day, honestly, if you're just telling me that if I wake up for 15 minutes in the morning and use your training, like that's going to change my whole life, I just don't think that would happen. So what do I know? I know that that's how they see my product and my service right now, which means I need to have them see a different perspective. I need to frame my product, my service differently than just waking up for 15 minutes in the morning. So I would do something different like this. Well, Andy, no, I totally understand that. Listen, I don't think that you doing something in the morning would change your whole life every day. I think it could add to it. But the great multiplier, which is I think why we're on the call right now, is you're not wanting to add to your life, you're wanting to multiply. Would you agree? You're thinking really big and you want a high ROI. I think that you're in sales, and I think, and obviously you're an entrepreneur, and I think that your mind and your brain is super important. And we've learned this, like your mental mindset determines how you think, that determines where your life goes and everything, right? It's the law of attraction. It's a secret. It's the law of manifestation. Everybody knows it's real that do what we do. And so I think that every day you're selling something, and when you're not selling something, you're looking for something to sell. And then when you're not looking for something to sell, there's this little window, and it's called training to get better. And I just think a guy like you has unlimited potential. I think there will never be a day in which I'll ever say the guy like you's maxed out. And so every day, if you could have something to plug into that could literally give you an edge, because see, you're already doing well in life, okay? But you operate from a state of madness. You want to be the best. You want to be the greatest. You want to get better every day. Progress over everything in your life. Being a father, being a husband, making money in business, physical shape, being close to God, whatever's important to you, you just want progress in all those areas. Would you agree? So basically what I'm saying is that this isn't something you're going to wake up in the morning. This is something that's going to give you that, because you operate in a state of madness, give you that edge to make you have progress in your life every day, which makes you feel alive. And because a guy like you has unlimited potential, this is a perfect product for you. You see? I didn't go against the grain and go like, hey, well, Andy, you know, waking up first thing in the morning, man, how you wake up in the morning is how your whole day goes. Dude, listen, if he thinks using my product and service first thing in the morning isn't the best thing in the world, don't press and hard sell that. Don't try to get him to sway. Look, I always say this, if you can't go into the front door, go into the back door. If you can't go into the window, go through the basement. If that didn't work, just drive the dang car through the house, okay? You're going to find a way to get in there. Just be creative. I see too many people trying to force something just one way, right? Like, no, I need this guy to see that when he wakes up in the morning, the first thing that he does is everything. No, dude, that's not how he wants to be sold. He just told you that. And so questions unveil that. It uncovers that. And now it allowed me to sell, like I just showed you a great example of how to do it, okay? Now, I want you to write this down. Create questions that are different than the ones that your competitors ask. So I'm going to give you a little homework right now. I want you to write down 3 questions that you think that my competitors ask these 3 questions. These are 3 commonly asked questions that uncover information. And then I want you to rewrite those. I want you to redevelop those questions, and I want you to make it different. I want your language to be different than anyone else. If somebody went to Whatever You Do or called Whatever You Do and they talked to 20 other people that were in your industry, when they talk to you, do you sound different than all the other ones? Even though the product or the commodity may be the same, do you sound different? Because if you can do that, you win. That's it. And so not in just your language and the way you speak, but the way you ask questions, which is what we're doing now. So what's the top 3 questions? And I want you to rewrite those, okay? To get better information and to sound different. All right, the next one. You ready? And by the way, this isn't a long video. We're wrapping this up. I want you to write this down. I want your client to be impressed and engaged by your questions. Can I ask you a question? Have you ever looked in someone's eyes and when you did something or said something, you could tell they were impressed? That's what I want. Have you ever said something or done something and you've looked and the client's really engaged? Have you ever looked over and you said something and they're like, yeah. And you're like, oh yeah, baby, momentum, we're going. Or have you ever looked over and you said something and the client's like, and you're like, they don't care. No, they don't care. You're just not any good. They probably had the last pitch the same as the pitch you're giving them now, which is why this is the great separator. You got me? Okay, so remember, write that down. I want your client to be impressed and engaged by the questions you ask. The rest will take care of itself. Just make sure that those things happen. All right, now I want you to write down these 3 things. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Number 1, you got to be the best in the world at asking questions. Number 2, you got to be great at creating valuable dialogue. Listen, don't speak to speak. Don't use words to use words. Remember, you're a sniper. When you put that bullet in the chamber, make sure that you hit the bullseye every time. Okay? Kill shot. Use your words. Make them count. Advance the self forward. Make a difference. Everything that you say matters. Don't use dead words. Kill that dead space. Listen more, talk less if you need to. All right? That's what the greats do. Number 1, ask questions. Number 2, create valuable dialogue. And number 3, just engage with them. Great questions. I always learned this when I was 18 in sales. People don't care about how much you know until they know how much you care. I know you heard it. I feel like sometimes we hear these sayings and we know them. but we don't live them. It's one thing to learn it. It's another thing to learn it. It's another thing to live it. I want you to think about what you've learned. Do you use daily in application? Okay. This video on questions is priceless. This video may be a video that you may need to watch 50 times. It's totally cool. It'll change your life. One video can change your entire life. Now, as I go through each one of these videos, I'm covering tiny little key components, right, that make you the best in the world. I said earlier, there's two things that the most competitive, people in this world do. Number one, they never let anyone know their business better than them. If you're in sales, I'm teaching you how to become the world's best. Number two, try to figure out how to kick your own butt every day. I want you to think, if your competition set up a company across the road that did the same thing you did, how would they take you out? How would they take your sales? How would they take your customers? How would they put you out of business? And I want you to fix those holes. And that's the secret. That's why we're training right now. That's why we're becoming the best. And the cool thing in the world, I wish I could tell you that the entire world was out there training right now and they wanted to come after you and crush you, but that's not the facts. The facts is everybody's mediocre, everybody's complacent, and everybody has mediocrity crawling all over them. There has never been a better time in the history of the world to train and become great. I feel so good about these next few years. I feel like some of you that are watching this right now, you're about to go to a new level, one that you've never been to before in your life. And I believe in you. So I'm teaching you everything I have. I'm pouring my heart out to you. And I want you to learn this. And I want you to become great at it. I want you to be the standard in the industry that you're in, that everybody talks about when they talk about greatness. That's it. So guys, master these questions and you'll kill it. I'll see you in the next video.